There's beautiful roses, beautiful roses in the bed. There's beautiful roses in the bed. Roses, beautiful roses.
Yo, let's rock with my beautiful roses. It's your bro Will, and we're back at What Do You Have in Your Garden podcast, episode 4. Today, we have a special guest, man. My big brother, I like to call him. My man, Darrell Smith. What's happening with my guy?
What's going on, bro?
How you been, fam?
Great, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming along, bro.
Absolutely.
Before we get started, bro, I just want to tap into a little bit of get up people a little something about yourself, bro.
Okay.
Where you from? You know what I'm saying? Where you from? What are you currently doing?
Yep.
Things of that nature.
Got you. Born and raised Oakland, California. Well, high school went to James Logan, so I guess you could say spent 3 years in Union City, but pretty much born and raised in Oakland, California.
Mm-hmm.
Same story as most of the young black men that grew up in Oakland.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? A little bit of struggle. Raised by my grandmother as well as my pops. Lost my mom when I was 6 years old. So, grandmother, aunts took over after that. My dad as well, and just kind of made sure that we stayed together.
Mm-hmm.
Me and my two brothers, and we didn't get separated.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just same story, man. Grew up in certain neighborhoods, saw a lot of stuff growing up in Oakland, but we persevered through it all.
Right.
And today we're here.
Right.
Yeah.
True definition of overcoming. One thing that you said I could totally relate to is losing your mom at a young age. I lost my mom when I was 5 as well. Well,
Yeah.
I was 5 when my mom passed away.
Okay.
So that struggle of growing up without a mother for me was difficult. But I did have aunts in place. You feel me?
Yep.
Aunts, sisters. You know what I'm saying? That helped take care of me and things of that nature. So that's a blessing to hear. All right, bro. So y'all know what it is, man. Y'all know what we do after garden. Y'all know our theme. Love is everything. Understanding is a must.
Yep.
And transparency is needed for those that need love. You hear me? This is what the garden is about. Big bro, I want to jump into a question right quick, man. And
Let's do it.
one of the questions, bro, I want to ask, man. I love to ask my guests this question just to get things started off. I really like to deep dive into our guests' history about who they are, right?
Okay.
And so, one of the questions I want to ask is that what seeds that you have in your life that prompted you to be who you are?
That's an amazing question.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I give it some justice when I respond to this.
Facts, do your thing, brother.
Yeah. That's a deep one right there. So it deserves like a thoughtful response.
Yeah.
So what seeds? There's a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
As I stated, I lost my mom at a very young age. And if I could just be transparent, my biological father, I never knew, never met. But obviously my father, who was definitely my father, Johnny Campbell Sr., stepped in and raised me since I was 1 or 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I think we start there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mom had me when she was 16 years old, going on 17. Our birthday is 12 days apart. I was born August 3rd, 1987.
Mm-hmm.
She turned 17 August 15th, 1987.
Wow.
I actually just called my aunt maybe 2-3 days ago, and I was telling her that I was reflecting on like how young my mom was when she had me, and looking at my daughter and the age that she is right now. I have a daughter that's 16 years old. She'll be 17 December 6th.
What?
Yeah. Shout out to my daughter, Raylyn.
Shout out to Raylyn.
So I called my aunt the other day and I said, man, I was just thinking about my mom. I said, my mom had me when she was the same age that my daughter is today. And my daughter is a very smart, intelligent young lady, but then it's still she's a young lady. So then to imagine my mom, who was that same age, and her having the wherewithal to say that I'm going to keep this child and give birth to this child rather than abort this child, and then raise me up until the point to where she wasn't here no more. I think that's I have to start with that seed right there. Just a young woman who also grew up in Oakland, California, who also didn't have her father in her life, raised by a single mom, having the wherewithal to just say that I'm going to keep my child and not abort it. So I think that's the first seed right there. Someone just being willing to have that wherewithal and make that sacrifice to put the child first rather than themselves,
right,
and whatever it is that she may have been dealing with at that time. And then, as I told you, the man that I call my pops, who is my pops, not just the man that I call my pops, but he actually is my pops, Johnny Campbell Sr., who took me in as his own, right? Not just him, his entire family. I never knew a difference. I had 4 other siblings. He had 2 daughters who are older than me, my sisters, Johnny and Marquita, and then later came my 2 younger brothers, Johnny Jr. and then Deshaun Campbell. And I became a part of that group, that family, and I never felt any difference. He treated me as if I was his own. In fact, there's a running joke in our family right now that I'm his favorite. So him and I just had a conversation maybe a week or 2 ago when he's like, your siblings tease and say that you're my favorite, and I don't think I always try to shut it down. I'm like, no way, I can't be the favorite. But I think it's just everyone recognizing that the love that he shared for all of us. You know what I'm saying? And just those seeds that he was willing to plant. And then it goes on and on. Like with my mom transitioned, my grandmother, who had already raised her children, all 3 of her girls were grown or pretty much grown at that point. Her willing to sacrifice the second half of her life to raise me and my brothers. And, my aunts who were young when their older sister passed away, who also stepped up to make sure that, we were taken care of and we felt love and we never went without.
Right.
And tried to make sure we had the fly stuff growing up and, we were taught principles and lessons. And everybody else in the village that pitched in, my Uncle Tone, who was, one of my favorites, my Uncle Damien, who, I don't think I'd become the man that I am today without him teaching me the things that he taught me about the streets and the type of mentality you need to have in order to survive in a place like Oakland. And then also able to transition that into, corporate world. So yeah, I would say those are the main seeds.
Okay. I love that, bro. It's amazing because, as you were talking, I see that, yes, it could have been a struggle or it was a struggle having to deal with that realization of not just losing your mom, but being raised by a man that's not your biological father. So of course, you probably went through certain traumas to help you grow. But like you said, the village helped cultivate and nurture to be the man that you are today. And so to stay on that for just a quick moment, y'all. How was it, bro? Like being the oldest? Did you ever look at it like as the oldest son per se?
Yeah.
How was it like having that? Like, damn, I'm the oldest brother. I'm the oldest man, how was that, bro? Like growing up, you feel me? How did you take that?
Absolutely. It was definitely a huge responsibility. I could go back to when I was 6 years old. When my mom passed, I certainly remember. I think it was the day of, my pops came and picked me up. We went to breakfast. I don't know if it was the day of or maybe it was the day after. Again, I was 6 years old. So, timelines may be crossing here, but I remember he picked me up. We went to breakfast. And before we went in to eat, we sat on a curb. I think we was with my grandfather. My grandfather had like a old school Suburban at the time. I remember the car. It was like brown. Sat on the curb, and my pops was like, you the oldest, and I'm gonna need you.
That's what pops told you.
That's what my pops told me. He was like, I'm gonna need you to help me with your brothers. He was like, I can't do this without you. Obviously, he was a young man. He just lost his wife.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he was going through a lot, trying to figure out what life looks like without her.
Mm-hmm.
Still grieving, trying to cope with the fact that she's not here. Obviously, it was pretty fresh. And then also you have, these 5 kids that you have to raise. So yeah, he just came to me and was like, man, you're the oldest. I'm the oldest boy. It's like, I'm going to need your help. And, obviously I can remember that conversation today. So, that stuck home. And I took on that responsibility from that day forward to make sure that, I was example to my younger brothers, as well as, I got extended. I have an extended brother, I would say, which is also a cousin to me, Deshaun.
Mm-hmm.
But,
AKA
Day.
Yeah.
AKA Day.
Brody.
That's my guy. Yeah.
Brody.
But, I took it very seriously, and it's definitely a responsibility that I carried with me throughout my life.
And you know what, Pod, man, I know, bro, Darrell, personally, and when I first met you, bro, I see you carry that like responsibility of like big brother. Like you take it seriously. Like rather if it's like mentorship, letting the person know if they're wrong or right, if they need anything, you know what I'm saying? You always been there, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to my bro Deshaun. That's my guy. You feel me? That's really my brother.
Yeah.
I'm really, they all my brothers. You feel me? To be honest, I just integrated myself into their family.
Absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But to get back to that, knowing you, bro, you always had like that big brother spirit, bro. Rather if it's like advice, you feel me? If I needed something or whoever needed something, you would give. You know what I'm saying? You always been our guy, bro. So thank you for sharing that. And as we dig deeper into the ground for some more seeds that you plant in your life, I want to ask you this question, bro. What seeds have you planted in your life, bro, that you're most proud of today?
Yeah.
Let's go, y'all.
Yeah. I would say, hard work, high character, integrity. And let's start with hard work. So I think when I always been, I would say like a fly guy, or I would like to think of myself as being a fly guy, right?
Okay.
So throughout my life, I always wanted, since a young man, I always remember myself like wanting the finest things in life, like whether it was like the newest shoes, the newest kick, the newest Jordans, you know what I'm saying? Or, the Sean John gear, whatever the case may be. Like I always just remember myself wanting nice things. And my pops, he made a decent living for himself. He owned a construction company, made a decent, living. And, we didn't grow up poor or nothing. But my pops definitely wasn't into just like squandering money. So if I'm coming like asking for the latest kid, mind you, it's 5 of us too. So I can just imagine what it's like trying to raise five kids. But I do remember, wanting all the latest kicks, wanting to get my hair cut every week. You know what I'm saying? Wanting to have the latest gear on. And my pops being like, nah, we not buying new kicks every week. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like my grandma used to take us to get our haircut. It's like every other week. And I'm like, nah, I want to stay fresh every week. You know what I'm saying? I wanted the wet 5th grade. I had waves with the Hulk Hogan do-rag on, blue magic grease with my grandma edge brush. You know what I'm saying? So I remember at like 12 years old, I went to my pops. Again, my pops had a construction company. His entire family did, from my grandfather, all of his, 3 brothers, and then him. They all had a construction company. So I remember going to him at 12 years old, and I'm like, hey, can I work with you during the summer? And,
at 12?
At 12.
At a construction company?
Construction company.
Okay, let's go.
And my pop's like, you sure you want to do this? And I'm like, yeah, I want to make money. And he like, come on. And at 12 years old, I worked with him the entire summer. He paid me $15 a day. Okay. You know what I'm saying? At 12. You know what I'm saying? And by the time the summer ended, he took all my money that I had made that summer, gave it to my grandma. My grandma used it to buy school clothes, which is cool. I'm not holding a grudge against somebody. But that's my money. I should have been able to buy what I wanted to with the money. And then I worked with him every summer after that. I mean, honestly, until I graduated from high school.
Really?
Yes. So what that taught me was like hard work, dedication, work ethic. You know what I'm saying? And also respect. I got to see my father, my uncle, my grandfather on a day-to-day basis and what they do within like their craft or their field of work. So I grew like a large respect for it. Got to see like how much time they put in, how hard they really work for that dollar, and what it was like to run a business. Like I got to see my dad, you know, every week make payroll, go with him to the bank, have to make sure that he paid his guys, take care of his guys, how to manage a site, make sure a site was clean. And then he'll tell you, like, I wanted to outwork everybody, even at 12 years old. I want to make sure that the site is clean. I want to learn everything. He'd be like, nah, you can't do this. And then when he leave, I tell his workers, like, hey, can you teach me how to, you know what I'm saying? Can you teach me how to stucco, or can you teach me how to mix up mud, whatever the case may be? So I would say that first C definitely is hard work, dedication. And then the second, I would say, is the ability to overcome.
The ability to overcome.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good.
So I would say one of the major challenges that I faced was like in high school, right? Ninth grade, I started off at Tennyson High. Was going to school with my god brother. We was knuckleheads. Was never in class. Grades was terrible, but smart, right? I got into one of the gate math class at the school at the time. Wasn't going. Remember, security guard used to always talk to me like, bro, why you won't just go to class? Like, you're super smart, but you won't focus. Like, you want to be a knucklehead. Me and my god brother ended up getting into some trouble. Transferred to Castlemont. Got my stuff together. Got on the honor roll while I was at Castlemont. Some stuff happened with one of my friends while I was there. You know, somebody got killed. Someone got shot at. A little situation happened. My grandma didn't want me going to school at Castlemont no more, so sent me to Union City with my aunt. Go to James Logan.
Wait. Let's pause right there.
Let's pause.
That was a transition in life.
Yeah.
That I wanted to just talk about that. This quick minute.
Yeah.
So that transition through that happening with your god brother and let's say homies and homeboys, whatever happened at Castlemont.
Yeah.
And then that transition from going to Logan, right?
Yeah. Logan.
So if you can recall, how was that, bro? Like dealing with cause I know it's like, damn, you loyal to the soul with my guys.
Yep.
Now I'm getting shipped off.
Yep.
And it's not like you're leaving a different school. Like you're leaving one household to the other.
That's right.
So I just want to touch bases on that. That was something that I felt like it's powerful, bro. So
no, that's with
great. The ability to overcome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like
good pause right there.
Yeah.
So I would say when I started off ninth grade school year, I was living with my pops, and again going to Tennyson. I went there for like a semester. And then second half of ninth grade, I moved back with my grandma. I was at Castlemont for like a semester as well. And then, the little situation happened. So my grandma wanted me to come to Union City, and I think my aunt actually advocated for me to come as well.
Okay.
Shout out to her. And,
wait. So do you feel like, that was a distinguishing your life? Do you feel like if you would have stayed there, you wouldn't be who you are today?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, shout out to my aunt having the wherewithal and enough care in her heart to want me to be in a better environment. You know what I'm saying? I think small choices like that in life. She was a young woman at the time too, had a young son, Deshaun, who I talked about. So, her being willing to take on that extra responsibility, allowing me to come into their space. I mean, that's big.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, all of these, decisions led to where I am today. So, transition households, transition cities, new group of friends. And I'm not going to lie. When they first told me Union City, I'm like, man, what the, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm from Oakland. I've been in Oakland my whole life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I went to elementary school in Oakland. I went to middle school in Oakland. All my friends is from here, and you sending me out to Squareville. That's how I felt.
Yeah, facts.
Young man. I'm like 15 at the time, 15, 16. So that was my mentality. But luckily I had a cousin and some, extended family who was already out there. And, my cousin Lamont, rest in peace to him.
RP, bro.
Yeah. He was able to make a connection with some extended cousins that I had already going to school out there.
Okay.
DeJohn, I think he currently goes by John Hart, R&B artist. Shout out to him too.
Okay.
Who, I think we made the connection by he was having a party in Union City at the time, right when I was getting ready to move out there. And my cousin Lamont took me to his party. And then cousin embraced me, introduced me to all his friends, let them know that I was coming to the city, I was going to the school. And the transition was smooth. And honestly, it was the best environment that I ever been in.
Look at God, bro.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You said, at first you thought it was Squareville.
Yeah,
huh?
for sure.
Yeah,
for sure I thought it was Squareville.
Yeah, so, but then it became more of it's like a peace thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was what I needed. I got to go from, and nothing against my people who, I went to school in Oakland at Castlemont, shout out to all the guys, that I grew up with out there. But I got to see a different mentality when I went to Union City.
Whole different perspective.
For sure.
Yeah.
First off, it's the only school in Union City. So there's 5,000 students at one high school.
Dang.
And then it's so diverse. You have everything from, Indian to Middle Eastern. You have, Filipinos. And of course, a few blacks sprinkled in, some whites as well. So I got to see like a diverse group of young people who were taking care of business.
Mm-hmm.
Folks are talking about going to college. They were focused on what was next, focused on their grades, focused on their athletics or whatever their extracurricular activities were.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was a few knuckleheads out there as well. So it's definitely some people like me out there who came from other cities, East Palo Alto, Oakland, and carried that same mentality too. But
mm-hmm.
I think just me being the person that I am, I was able to, pick up on those who were taking care of business as well.
Awesome. And so do you feel like you said something earlier about the ability to overcome as being a seed. So was that one part of, if I can say, like an ability for you to have a different perspective so that you can overcome the Oakland trauma of growing up in the hood? You feel me? Like gang bang, whatever it may be. You feel me?
So we ain't have gangs in Oakland at the time. I know it's a lot of that going on in Oakland right now. Back then we had turfs.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely the ability to overcome like what my mentality was at that point versus what my mentality was when I ended up graduating from Logan, which graduating was a struggle because I came in with a certain mentality, right?
Right.
So cutting class, not taking care of business, 10th and 11th grades were trash. 12th grade, I had to take 9 classes in order to catch up just to graduate.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it goes back to the responsibility of being the big brother.
Mm-hmm.
I always had in the back of my mind that if I'm the goalpost for my younger siblings, right, my 2 little brothers, then there's no way I can't graduate. So I made sure that I took care of business my senior year, going to class before school, taking a class during my lunch, taking classes after school, sacrificing, partying, hanging out with my partners just to make sure that I graduate. And I was able to walk that stage. So I think that's the first time that I was conscious about me actually having to overcome something, struggle that I created for myself.
I love that. Because that gives you the blueprint of like, if I can get through this, then I can really accomplish a lot.
Absolutely.
Speaking of that, accomplishing a lot.
Yeah.
You have your degree in psychology, right?
Correct.
Awesome. I want to touch bases on that for the audience.
Yeah.
What made you want to get a degree in psychology?
Great question. Obviously, since a young man, losing my mom at 6, not knowing who my biological father is, like I always had a desire to like help or give back in a way, help others. Since I was young, always. I didn't know how that could translate into like a career or, in the educational field. I think when I went to like junior college, I was just trying to figure out like what it is that I wanted to do. And I took a psych class, and there was a gentleman named Dr. Clark. Dr. Clark, shout out Dr. Clark, Mr. Clark at City College of San Francisco. I walked into his classroom day one. This is like my first year in junior college. And we were all sitting in the classroom, and he walked in, light-skinned, tall, slender, black, African-American man, right? Mm-hmm. And the first thing he says to the class when he walked in is, how many bitches and hoes we have in here?
What?
Yeah. Right? Yeah, all right? First thing he say, how many bitches and hoes we have in here?
I would have been rolling.
Whole class looked exactly like that. We were confused. Everybody's confused. Mind you, this is a diverse class. You have, and then it's junior college, so you have young people, you have older people, you have white, black, like whatever. Yeah. We're all in here together, right? So everybody's puzzled. We're looking like, what? Like, hey, is this the teacher? Like, for real? Mind you, he on a sweatsuit too. Right. He's from Chicago, so you know. Yeah. So he see the look on our faces, and then he follow up with the question. He's like, what's the definition of a bitch? And we're all like, female dog. He's like, what's the definition of a hoe? Mm-hmm. We're like, garden tool. He like, so why when I asked you how many bitches and hoes we have in here, y'all looked at me like I was crazy? And that's the response that we had. Like, So then he's like, now let's go back to, when was the first time you associated the word bitch and hoe with a negative connotation? Mm-hmm. Right? And from there, I was hooked. I said,
that one hooked me too, bro. I ain't gonna cat, bro. He dropped a bar on the whole class.
I'm like, psychology is my field, right?
Yeah.
So then from there, he starts breaking down psychology, the study of human behavior, and what it is. And I just was like, oh yeah, this is my thing. Okay. Like, I knew I wanted to help people, but I wanted to help people beyond just an act that I can, something that I can give. I wanted to understand why we behave the way that we do. So then I knew, yeah. So then I had an understanding of why I was helping, mm-hmm. and then the benefit of me helping in the way that I chose to, mm-hmm. and what could possibly be the outcome for the individuals that I'm helping.
Awesome. I love that, bro, because I believe it's essential for us to have empathy and sympathy for others.
Yeah.
And so to double back on that question about psychology, what made you strive to want to get your degree in psychology? You did touch bases on it, but do you feel that understanding psychology was something that you want to understand within yourself first, that you can be the best person you can be for others?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can get into this field, like if you truly have a desire to utilize the study of psychology to help and benefit others. I don't think there's no way that you can approach this without first doing a deep dive into yourself, right?
Y'all hear that?
Yeah.
Reflection matters, man.
Absolutely.
I love that, buddy. Okay.
So yeah, everything that I learned, everything that we practiced, everything that we went through, it always started with a self-evaluation before I figured that I could utilize it on someone else. And,
that's good, bro.
I think that's really the key to practicing psychology.
I love that, bro. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. To transition to something more deep, within your own garden, within your own life, brother. What weeds that you had in your life that you had to uproot for you to be Darrell Smith today?
It's good. I think really just unlearning, right?
Wait, hold on, wait. You can't just say unlearning like Yeah. What's that? What we talking about, D?
Yeah.
What we talking about unlearning? That's a weed that you had to pluck out?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So let's just go back to environments.
Okay.
Growing up, Oakland, California.
Okay.
I was born in 1987. So we're talking about by the time I could really understand what's going on, let's say, 8 years old. So let's say 95. If you can imagine Oakland, California in 95,
Crack era?
Yeah, crack eras through the 80s, the early 90s. I mean, Oakland was definitely a spot that it's on the map for a reason. People know what Oakland is for a reason, right? So, you had those who were what they were in Oakland. I don't think you got to, necessarily speak on them. But, you had some people who definitely was in Oakland making a name for themselves, right? And as a young man, you see that, right? And then that's what you want to become because that's the measure of success at that point. You get what I'm saying? So again, I said I was always into, fly things. So the dopest cars,
I see.
the flyest dudes, the jewelry, the people who have those things are people that, participate in a lifestyle that, they felt was best for them. That's
swinging that rock.
Yeah. Whatever they felt like they.
No, I'm just kidding, Tom.
Yeah. Whatever they felt like they needed to do to, take care of their family at the time. Yeah. And then on top of that, hip hop is where it's at the time. Pac just, got killed, and then Biggie next, and then all the different, East Coast, West Coast rap beef, and then you got gangster rap at its peak at that time. And as a young man, you influenced by that. You're talking early 90s, so Cash Money just dropped. It's all that's going through my mind as I'm thinking about growing up in Oakland during that time. Then you got all of, the Bay Area legends rapping too. So you develop this mentality of, as a young man, as a young black man growing up in Oakland, you gotta be what they consider to be hard. You gotta be gangster. You gotta be a thug. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, stand your ground. Like, you can't be no punk, can't be no sucker.
Yeah.
And, it took me to just reevaluate all of what was shown to me from not only my immediate environment, which is growing up in Oakland, California, but also what's portrayed through media, right? Through the rap music, through the movies, New Jack City. My pops tried to keep us from all that, but we was gonna sneak, we was gonna watch the movies, we was gonna do, you know what I'm saying? So
facts.
Menace to Society. So these are all the images that's portrayed. So it took for me to like work through all of that and understand that obviously who I am internally is much bigger than just like succumbing to what society says that I have to be.
Bam. Right. I'm glad that you stated that, because my next question was going to be, transitions to everything, is that me knowing you personally, and you letting us be vulnerable and being transparent now on what do you have in the podcast. If you all don't know, Darrell Smith is an author.
Yeah.
He's not just an author. He's actually CEO too.
CEO's coming though. He's speaking into existence. Yeah, there we go.
I'm not a prophet, but I just did a prophecy.
Come on now.
COO. I want to touch basics on number one first, brother, of you deciding to become an author. Because a lot of people, when they think about an author, a lot of people may think it's people just writing down their thoughts or their memories or storytelling.
Yeah.
Things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
But what was the first title of your book? A Path
Through My Lenses.
A Path Through My Lenses.
Yeah.
Allow me to let you see what I see.
Yeah.
So I want to just go down that road right quickly. And then I want to talk about other things before we start planting more seeds in the garden.
Yeah.
What made you go that lane? What made you want to write a path? What made you want to go that lane?
Yeah. Immortality. Yeah. I think,
what did you say? Say it again?
Immortality.
Okay.
I think what made me want to write and become an author is to become immortal. Right? We're immortal beings, when it comes to our physicality. One day we have to transition from this world. I learned that at a very early age, losing my mom at 6, right? I didn't want to just come to this earth and experience existence here and my presence not be felt, right? I feel like I always had a desire to help people since I was young.
Right.
I feel like I have a lot to give, and I want what I have to give to be here beyond my physical self. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So I felt like one of the ways in which I can ensure that my presence is felt here in this earth realm beyond physicality is if I put my thoughts into a book.
Right.
I've read books from authors who, penned these, in the 1800s.
That's still...
Yeah, those books are long gone.
Yeah.
But I'm still learning from their words, from their thoughts, from their ideas, from their concepts today.
Right.
One of my favorite books is, the Richest Man in Babylon. That book was written, maybe 100 years ago. Yeah. But the effects of the author, it still exists within the earth realm today. So I wanted that. I wanted to make sure that my teachings and my thoughts and what I had to give to this universe and to anyone who is willing to, listen, it lasted beyond my physical self.
That's powerful, bro, because to even have that type of idea or vision, and pursue it and manifest it is amazing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your come up in your professional career. You talked about that one of the seeds that you learned at a young age is hard work.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Hard work at 12 years old working in a construction company.
Yep.
Which is baffling to me. That's really amazing.
Get into it.
Yeah. And now you a COO of a company.
That's right.
So bring us to a path of your lenses for us.
Yeah.
Of the pyramid of where you are right now. Like how, yes, we can say it's hard work.
Yeah.
Yes, we can say it's a little bit of hard work.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of God.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of dedication.
Yeah.
We could add all them ingredients into the major pot, right?
Absolutely.
But how was life for you, bro? How are you a CEO now? How did that happen for you, bro? I mean, it may not be a right answer to that.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I'm saying? But
I'll try to explain it the best way that I can, right? I guess since I was young, I've always been told since I was young that I was going to be a leader, right? And mind you, I've only had...
My bad.
Good.
Roses. Confirmation. I always like to tell people, when people be like, I don't know what to do. Start having memories of who you were when you were younger.
Yeah.
Bro just said when he was young, he was always told he was a leader.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Resume, bro. Because this is powerful because like a lot of people get so conflicted in where they're at now.
Yeah.
And they lose track of who they are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
So for you just to reiterate that, like, I always was told when I was younger, I'm a leader.
Yeah.
This man is a COO.
Yeah.
He's not even 50.
Yeah.
You know how long it takes for people to be COO?
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, bro. I just got excited, bro.
It's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, ever since I can remember, I was always told that I was going to be a leader. I don't know what it was about me that just made people feel that way about who I was, right?
You didn't know then?
I didn't know then. No.
Do you know now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I have a clear understanding of who I am now.
Okay.
So yeah, obviously we talked about hard work and everything that I've had a desire to do.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to put my all into it. I've only had, outside of working with my dad, and then like a short stint in like another like construction company, I've only had 2 professional jobs. which is crazy, right?
So you were dedicated to those two jobs. You did.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I started off my, I guess you can say, professional career outside of working with my dad and my uncles, because I did construction right out of high school. I didn't even go straight to college. I thought construction was my lane. In fact, I remember telling my best friend, Jared, he like, bro, what's up? Let's go to college. And I'm like, y'all can go to college. I'm like, I'm finna jump into this construction, and by the time y'all graduate, I'll be rich.
That was bad.
Yeah,
right?
I thought that's how it worked.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was not the case, but that's the mentality that I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started off, doing construction, and then I remember doing a job with my pops one day. We were pouring some concrete at like a HUD apartment unit, and he was screeding. If anyone know what screed and concrete is, he was screeding some concrete for his driveway, and I heard like my pops make a grunt. He like, and I'm like, you all right? He just like, yeah, my back hurt. And something like flashed in my mind, seeing myself at that age, doing physical labor. And I just always felt like I was super smart, right? I probably was like 18 at the time, 18, 19. And I told my pops the next day, I'm like, I'm going to college. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to college. I don't want to do physical labor. I feel like I could get paid for utilizing my mind. So I signed up. Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
I can get paid for utilizing my mind.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a seed, bro.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. You got to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
So I signed up for JC, and I obviously left construction because you can't do that full time. And, I couldn't do that full time and go to school. So I went into retail, started working at Shoe Palace. Shout out Shoe Palace, Johnny, Tony, Ralph, George, as a sales associate. And what's crazy is they were just opening up a store at Southland, and they had like open hiring or whatever. And they didn't even want me at first, but I knew a guy who was working there who basically told them like, nah, like hire him. And I stuck with it because it worked with my schedule. I was making $7.50 an hour. That was minimum wage at the time.
What?
Yeah.
What year was that?
Crazy. This was like this was 2007.
Sheesh.
2007. Yeah. I just stuck with it because it worked with my school schedule. It allowed me to put a little bit of money in my pocket. And, I grew in the company pretty fast. The great thing about Shoe Palace was that it wasn't a new company, but they were only on their 15th store at the time. So the owners were very involved in the building of the business, right? So they were at the stores, they were at the hiring events, they were really close with the employees. So I developed a great relationship with the owners, specifically Johnny and Tony. And I got to see how business works. And I grew in the company. I became what they called a floating manager. And then they gave me my own store. And I failed the first time I was running my own store. Learned from that lesson.
Why do you say you failed? What made?
When you're in retail, everything is about numbers, comps, gains, right? And I was at a store that was pretty much successful. They had a great guy running the store prior to me. And then I took over afterwards, and, we just didn't continue the success. I did not know how to be a leader at that point.
Is that, because I want to make sure, I understand this properly. So if that's the case, because it's retail,
yeah,
is it leadership or is it the consumer fault? If it's based off numbers,
no, it's leadership, and I'll explain why. So you run in a store, you have, I think at that time I had maybe 10 employees. I was young too. I was probably 23, 24 at the time.
The manager at 23?
20, yep. Management, running a store at 23, 24.
Okay.
Had a few employees under me, and I thought leadership was about friendship, right? So when it came to me managing my team, I did it from a standpoint of like, I need to be their friend, right? So we were hanging out. We were hanging out. We're going to play ball together after work. We're going to dinner together. I'm going to holiday parties with them. We're having like certain type of conversations. I took the approach of these are my friends. Well, because of that, when it came time to like discipline them or tell them like, hey, you know, you can't do that, or you can't have this day off, or I need you to get out and hustle and sell the way that I taught you, there was a little bit of pushback. The respect wasn't there because, again, I thought and they thought we were friends. So my friend don't tell me what to do. My friend don't talk to me that way. My friend don't hold me accountable, especially when you're young, right? So then we got a visit. We went through a holiday season. We didn't hit the numbers that we were expected to hit. We got a visit from some folks in the corporate office, and the entire team threw me under the bus. When they were asked, like, why is the store isn't performing? Why is it, not clean? They're like, oh, it's his fault. Like, he allow us to do what we want to do. He don't hold us accountable. So all the things that they had a problem with me doing, they then tell me it's my fault because I'm not doing it when they're talking to the boss. But which is fine. That was the best thing that could have happened to me, right? I would not trade that lesson for nothing in the world. Most people run from failure. That moment in my life where I experienced failure, I wouldn't say I failed because I felt like saying that you failed is like it's finality. So I didn't fail. It was a part of my growth, right?
Yeah.
So I experienced failure in that moment, and it was literally the best thing that could have happened for me in my life. After that, I decided not to run a store. I went to another store as like a or an assistant or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I just revamped my whole leadership style.
Okay.
I made a vow to myself that I would never be friends with those who work for me. Mm-hmm. I would simply develop relationships based on how we're interacting with one another. Me being the boss, them being the employees that work for me, and then we'll develop relationships based on that.
Principles, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So then a few years later, I had another opportunity to run a store for same company. Mm-hmm. And when that opportunity came, we broke every single record that was in the company.
Wow.
Yeah. So I took my experience of failure and then what I needed to do to revamp my leadership style. I implemented that with my new team. Mm-hmm. And it led to tremendous success. I mean, we broke records, comping $1 million within a year. No store had ever did that.
Wait, like selling shoes and stuff?
Yeah, like and comp means you made $1 million above what the store did last year. So we were the only store in the entire company who had grown to 100 plus, close to 200 stores at that time. Mm-hmm. We promoted more people than anyone. We killed it. I think we had like a team week, and I got pretty much every award that existed in the company at that time. And then that led to other growth opportunities for me, which ultimately led to me deciding that, hey, I've gotten my degree at this point, graduated from Cal State East Bay. I have a degree in psychology. I want to utilize that degree and that desire to help people beyond just retail. So then I decided to go work for a nonprofit doing case management, and just all those skills that I got from retail management leadership, I was able to apply in the role of a case manager. The folks who were at the nonprofit saw that I had a skill set beyond just case management at that time, and that I knew how to think, I knew how to strategically plan, I knew how to manage a budget, I knew how to hire, I knew how to coach a team. I knew how to get people to buy in to achieve a goal. Mm-hmm. And that led to some opportunities for me to grow. And, today, June 17th marks 1 year in my role as the COO of Bayview Hunters Point Foundation.
What's the name?
Bayview Hunters Point Foundation.
Shout out to Bayview Hunters Point Foundation, man.
Yeah. Shout out to the team over there.
COO. Under the age of 40 years old.
Under 40. Yes, sir.
And what really stood out to me, man. Audience, hope you guys really peeping the seeds that's being dropped. Is that from your retail experience, going through, college, whatever, like you said, failing, etc., to where you at, to before you got to be where you're at in your position now.
Yeah.
I like that you touched bases on you were able to cultivate the skills in retail.
Yeah.
I love that you said that when the store didn't operate the first time the way that it was supposed to operate, quote unquote, in other people's eyes or the company eyes, may be a failure.
Yeah.
But you didn't take it as that. One thing I want to touch bases on also is that you recognize your fault in it.
Yeah.
So your fault wasn't like you being a horrible leader, or it wasn't you and your job at the company. Your fault was, what I'm understanding, is befriending employees, which then turned they quote unquote back on you just to cover themselves.
Yeah. So I wouldn't even place the blame on them. This is what I've learned too throughout my years of just gaining experience as a human being.
Okay.
Owning the things that happen to you in life is your superpower.
Owning the things that happen to you
in life.
Owning
it.
Owning.
Yeah.
So look.
Which is basically accountability.
Yeah. But so what happened if, like, whatever happens to you is not your own doing?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do you still own it?
I think it's all your mentality or your approach to it. Because I can say my mom passing away when I was 6 is not my own doing, right? Essentially. But I own it. It's my story. I could say my biological father not being in my life, it's not my own doing. But I own it. I embrace it. I don't run from it. I can say that I could have blamed, what happened at the store on the employees and said that, hey, you guys are messed up because I was your friend. I gave you the days you wanted off. I was nice. I treated you. I could have put it on them, but no, I owned it. And I learned very early that when you take accountability for the things that happen to you in your life, it literally becomes your superpower. It gives you the ability to do something about it. If you refuse to own it, then you're saying that the onus or the power for change relies in someone else's hands. When you own it and you take accountability for it, you're saying that the ability or the power to change the course of my direction, it's within me. So anything that happened to me in life, I mean, there's a lot of stuff we haven't touched on, but whether it was me going to jail in the midst of me getting ready to graduate from junior college, transition over to a 4-year, literally the week of finals, I go to jail. I could have been in jail for months. I could have, lost the ability to transfer to Cal State East Bay. I owned it. I had a kid when I was 22 years old while I was in junior college. I owned it. That moment that happened when I was running a store and, it was pointed out that I didn't, perform the way that I should have. I owned it. And everything else that happened in my life up to this point, I own it, because when I own it, then I control the ability, to change it. Yeah.
That's so powerful, bro. Roses, accountability is a superpower.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never heard accountability in that poetic sense, bro.
Yeah.
And when I look at it, accountability is a superpower.
Yeah.
Because you can fool everybody else, but you can't fool yourself.
Come on.
And when you're accountable, it becomes a superpower.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because it literally gives you the power to make the change that's necessary in order to get you out of that situation.
And you know what's so mind blowing, bro, at times is that a lot of people I guess, don't understand that principle.
Yeah.
Because for me, I look at it as a principle, bro.
Yeah.
I look at self-reflection, accountability as a principle for self-growth.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have accountability, there's no self-growth.
Yeah.
In general. And so prompting where you're at now in your life concerning your career.
Yeah.
You got your degree in psychology and, you did the groundworks at, retail stores. And
Yep.
You worked at a nonprofit for helping people.
Yep.
It seems like to me, your story, you always had this spirit of being, if I may say this, serving for others.
Yeah, absolutely.
On a higher standard.
Absolutely. No, I like the choice of words.
Yeah. And so, you working at a nonprofit as a case manager. Was it a nonprofit?
Yes, nonprofit.
Okay. Yeah. As a case manager. And now you being a COO of a company.
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask this. It's going to be a cliche question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Yeah.
Just ask it. Is there any difference?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yes and no.
Okay.
There's a difference in what I'm responsible for on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Okay.
But the mission remains the
It's same.
Yeah. The mission remains the same. And anybody who has ever worked for me or with me knows that I have a specific saying. I say that whether I was working in retail as a store manager or trainer, or whether I'm was working at the nonprofit as a case manager, director, or now COO, I've always said that there's many titles in the world altogether. President, the CEO, COO, janitor, care monitor in the case of where I am today. From the highest level of office to what some folks may consider to be the lowest. When you are doing work that involves people, the only title that matters is servant. You have to have a heart of servitude. Serving is what will catapult you to the next level in leadership. Because at every level, you have to have a heart to serve, even at this level. So when I was a case manager, it was my responsibility to serve the client. Right? Now that I'm COO, it's my responsibility to serve the employees that serve the clients. So I'm still serving, right? Serving never ends. It's a continuum.
Yeah.
So I say this all the time, and my CEO and anybody else can vouch for this. Our staff, our frontline staff, whether it's our case managers, our clinicians, our doctors, our janitors, our care monitors, our case managers, they work for our clients. Me, my CEO, my compliance team, my finance team, we work for our staff. We cannot expect our staff to operate at optimum level if we are not giving them the tools they need in order to be successful. So I'm serving them. They're serving the clients. I'm still serving.
Yeah. And I'll thank you for breaking that down the way you did, bro, in a poetic fashion.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't get the concept of servitude. A lot of people look at being a servant as being a slave.
Yeah.
A lot of people look at being a servant as the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah.
But you said something that resonate with my faith.
Yeah.
And is that servitude literally upgrades you.
Yeah.
And not just that, it piggybacks on the fact of servitude is essential, but accountability is what upgrades growth as well.
Yeah.
Like, cause I could be a servant, but if I'm not accountable, the scale is still going to be off.
Yeah.
If I allow myself to self-reflect and be accountable while being a servant, I'm good. I'm going to continue to go up.
Yeah.
Go. I like to say not grow up, but glow up. You feel me?
There we go.
Let the light shine brighter. You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, that's powerful for me, though. And, I'm thankful, and we're thankful. The garden is thankful for you sharing that about servitude. And so you've been the CEO of this company for about a year now.
Yep.
Year going on.
Yeah.
Bam. All right. And so I want to touch bases on something else, bro, with you. There's something, you got something stirring in your pot. I'm not going to touch on that just yet.
Yeah.
I want to ask a question. In your garden, right?
Yeah.
You share with us that, you lost Mom D's.
Yep.
6 years old.
Yep.
You feel me?
Yeah.
You never knew your father.
Yep. Biological.
He was raised by Pops Campbell. Shout out to Pops Campbell.
That's
my guy right there.
Yeah.
Aunties, grandmothers.
That's right. Yeah.
You feel me? Worked construction at 12 years old.
Absolutely.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Went to college.
Yep.
Didn't want to go to college.
Nope. Not outright.
But went.
That's right.
Got your degree in psychology.
Yep.
Worked your way up to be a CEO, right?
Yep.
I'm just touching on the principles, y'all. So, if a YN, no, I'm just kidding. Y'all.
Nah, them too.
Yeah, no, them too.
Yeah,
For sure.
We talk to them on a daily basis, man. Matter of fact, on my IG, probably a couple months ago, I looked up the average age of the richest folks in the world, and it said the average age is around 50s. So I posted on my IG that, listen, if you want to win the game, you got to be in the game, right? So for all my young boys that's out there crashing out, feeling like, you got to do it now, and whether you're in your late teens, early 20s, man, even early 30s, listen, you want to win a game, you got to be in the game, bro. The average age of the richest folks that's on this planet today is their 50s.
That's like prime year, too.
It takes time. So all my young boys who out there who feel like they need it now and they ready to risk it all, jeopardize their lives, their families, putting themselves in a situation where they can end up in a cage for the remainder of their years. You can't win the game that way, bro. You want to win a scoring title? You need minutes. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So you got to be around in order to get in the game, log some minutes.
Yes, sir.
And when you got the minutes, then you got a shot at winning the scoring title. So don't trick yourself out the game, man. Just a little side note.
No, that's a bar, bro.
Side note.
If you want the scoring time, you got to put in some minutes.
You got to log some minutes,
huh?
Man. You need minutes in order to get points.
Huh?
You getting 5 minutes a game. You're not gonna score many points, man. You get 10 minutes a game, you're not gonna score many points. So 5-10 minutes equal to 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, early 20s. You only been in the game for a few minutes. You can't. You're not gonna. You can't get the scoring title unless you come in LeBron, where you started straight out of high school. But again, let's go back to the statistics. Average age. Richest folks on the planet right now in their 50s. And so you gotta log some years if you want a shot at getting the title. So don't trick yourself off the streets, man. Don't let IG tell you that. You know what I'm saying? I get it. I understand. I didn't. We all want to shine right now, but I'm telling you, sustainability is greater than anything. You can have it today, be going tomorrow. If you're able to get it and sustain it over a long period of time, not only do you benefit off of it, but your kids benefit off of it. And then maybe their kids benefit off of it. So now we thinking generations ahead. So don't let them trick you off the streets, bro.
Bro, nah. You know what? I wanted you to keep going because the question I'm about to ask you resonates with that.
Okay.
But it's I want to dive in a little more detail. The question is that what can you tell others about their garden that you already accomplished in yours?
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of just answered it though, but I still want to ask you to get more details. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think we could go a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
So obviously I would say I'm a spiritual man, no longer a religious man. I used to be religious at one point, but I think I've grown beyond that. And no offense to anybody who is still in that phase of their life.
Well, let's just stop right there, quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Take base on that. Because religious and spiritual, they are totally different things.
Absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? A person can be religious but
Mhm.
don't have relations.
That's a fact.
A person can be spiritual and don't have relations.
That's
you feel what I'm saying?
well, I think so I think religion and relations are those are
Because
those don't flow hand in hand.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah. Even if you look up the definition of religion, it's just basically the practice of something. Just because you practice something don't mean that you have a connection to it. I mean, there's a bunch of people that religiously brush their teeth every day. Are they truly connected to like their hygiene and their dental care and things like that? Probably not. So religion is just like a blind practice of something. Or spirituality, it involves like more intentional. Like you have to be intentional. You know what I'm saying? You have to have an understanding of what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it. I think the why and everything matters. But let's go back to what was the original question?
So like, what do you have? So in your garden, what can you give advice to others? That's
got it. Yeah. So first off, I think it's understanding what a garden is. Again, like I say, I'm a spiritual man now, but at one point was a religious man. Studied the Bible, whatever version you want to talk about. I think it's first understanding what a garden is. For me, if we look at biblical text starting at the beginning, Genesis, I believe every man is given a garden, right? And I think that's synonymous to or in correlation with the story of like Adam and Eve, where God placed Adam into the garden. Whether you want to take that story as face value or not, I think the concept of what happened during that time is accurate and can be applied to any one of our lives. Every man has a garden, right? And I think what God tasked to Adam during that time, or the Creator tasked to Adam during that time, was to manage and cultivate the garden. And I think anything that, and if you go through the story, we'll make this quick. So we don't have to elaborate too much, but everything that came into the garden, Adam was responsible for identifying what it was, not responsible for its function or controlling who and what it was, but responsible for identifying it. And I think it's the same thing for every man that's placed upon this earth. Every man has a garden, right? And that garden, could be our family, which is our children, our friends, our people that we're connected to, work, business, whatever the case may be. And when people or things enter into your garden, it's not your job to control it. It's your job to manage it, to govern it, to cultivate it. And there's a huge difference between controlling and governing.
Talk about it.
Yeah. So controlling would be you having a say so in how it functions.
Okay.
And if we just look at like biblical principle, Adam had no control in how nothing functioned. Even when it said that God brought the animals for him to name, they already had their function. Like the whale was already swimming. The bird was already flying. The lion was already growling, roaring. It was just Adam's job to identify it. So he didn't control the function of it. He just was able to identify what it was. So that's just governing, and then just oversee to make sure that what it was created to do, it actually operated within that way. So I think it's the same for all men. Like when we have a garden, we pursue a woman, or we have children, or we become the leaders of our families, right? Or, the generation before us get older and now we take over and we're governing. It's our job to simply cultivate and make sure that everything operates as
cultivation.
Which means you're making it better, right? Or you're overseeing and you're governing it, and then identifying as well. Like, who is this woman that's in my life? How am I identifying her? A lot of people identify the women that come into their life as bitches and hoes, such as, the psychology class, right? Some men choose to identify them as their wife or their partner. I think how you identify the person determines how they operate within your life. Yeah. So if this is your garden and you bring her in and you identify her as a bitch, she's going to operate as a bitch. If you identify her as a hoe, she's going to operate as a hoe.
Mm-hmm.
But if you identify her as a partner or a wife or spouse, then she'll be that as well.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So it's how you cultivate it. It's how you identify it. So, I've made it, such as the purpose for my life. I've decided that it's anyone that enter into my life, they leave a better person than what they were when they came. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's part of my garden. Me cultivating my garden. Anyone who enters into, whether it's for a long time or whether it's for a short period of time, it is my desire that they leave better than what they came. Because I would have cultivated at some point and been able to identify or point out some things that I believe will be beneficial to their life.
You talking about seeds here, man?
Yeah.
What do you have in your garden?
Yeah.
I love that, bro.
What are you allowing into your garden?
What are you allowing into your garden? Yeah. Facts!
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro, so just with that declaration you just made about, what can you give advice about people for their garden that you touch bases that you had an understanding within your own. As your future grows and becomes brighter, what's your plan, bro? What you got? What more seeds you got to offer the world?
Yeah.
Man? What seeds you got growing right
now? To create, right? And I'll get into the specifics in a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But as I grow deeper in spirituality and I truly understand my connection to the Creator, the ultimate source of life, it helps me identify who I am, right?
Identification.
I believe that there's 3 levels of connection or spirituality, right? I believe the first level is like where we connect to spirituality or maybe even religion at this point, right? Because it's like you're just now understanding the basis of like relationship or connection. We connect with the Creator as like Savior, right? And we hear it throughout religious, establishments or services where it's like, Christ the Savior, whether we're talking about like Allah or Muhammad or whether we're talking about Buddha or whatever the case may be, it's like coming into the knowledge of something and now you're being saved from your old self. So I think that's like ground one for relationship or interaction. It's like I was once one way and then I came into the knowledge of something and now I'm saved from a past self or a past situation. And so I believe that's like our first level of connection with religion or spirituality, regardless of what you believe.
Yeah.
And then I believe like there's a level above that where it's like what we consider the Father. And I'm obviously talking from like a Christian background, right? I believe when folks begin to identify like the Creator or their whoever they believe in spiritually as like the higher power, as like the Father, that's like level 2, because you go from just being saved to now you wanting to be groomed, or you want to grow and you want to be corrected, right? So it's no longer I'm just saved from my old self, but now correct me, coach me, teach me how to be better.
Yeah.
And that's what we depend on our fathers to be, like to coach us, to groom us, to teach us, to grow us. Yeah. And when you begin to identify your spiritual beliefs and the being that you identify or worship as God, as Father, now you've gone from a point of simply wanting to be saved to now you want to grow. So it's like now, correct me, teach me, develop me into a better person. I believe the phase that I'm in now is the third phase, which is
Excuse me.
you're all right? Yeah.
It's you dope. Sorry, brother.
It's all good. I believe the phase that I'm in now is identifying the creator as simply being creator. Which, if you go back and look at most religious texts, that's how we were first introduced to the ultimate being, whatever you want to identify that as, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at biblical text, it says that in the beginning, God created. That's like the first phrase you get. So we first get identified to that source as creator because it or he or she, whatever, created. So now I'm learning that source as creator.
Mm-hmm.
And in learning that source as creator through like relationship, I'm learning that I too am a creator.
That's so powerful.
Yeah. So on Amazon, one being A Path Through My Lenses. That's my first book.
Mm-hmm.
Second one being A Path Towards a Better You, which is also on Amazon.
That's
Third one's on the way, 7-7. It will be 7 Keys to Creative Success. You can follow me on IG for updates on that as well. I will also be motivated by my brother launching a podcast. More information to come on that. Yeah, I think we have a dope concept as far as how we want to approach podcasting, and I think we'll be able to add to the space that already exists. We already have folks like my brother Willem here who's doing an amazing work, being able to pull content out of people to get it out into the universe so that we all can learn from it. We just want to add to the space, right?
Thank you, brother.
And we'll be continuing to do a great work at Bayview Hunters Point Foundation.
Shout out Bayview.
Yeah, where we serve the most vulnerable populations, the unhoused population, as well as the incarcerated and populations as well. Shout out to all the employees over there at Bayview Hunters Point Foundation. Grinding, putting in the work, making sure that, we're treating our clients with the best service possible, integrating them back into the community, making them feel loved and welcome in the community as well. Just stay tuned in with me, and I believe there's a lot more to come.
A lot more to come, a lot more seeds to be planted.
Yeah.
We're talking to not only a great man of God, bro, we're talking to a great man of servitude.
Yeah.
Y'all be on the lookout. Y'all follow my bro, Darrell Smith, man. Be on the lookout. Third book is dropping. Podcast is coming. And guess what? Seeds in the garden are harvesting. I know what it is. Episode 4, baby. We back.
Appreciate
What do you have in your garden?
Yes,
you hear
sir.
me? Where love is everything. Understanding is a must. And transparency is needed. But
on Amazon, one being A Path Through My Lenses. That's my first book.
Mm-hmm.
Second one being A Path Towards a Better You, which is also on Amazon. Third one's on the way, 7-7. It will be 7 Keys to Creative Success. You can follow me on IG for updates on that as well. I will also be motivated by my brother launching a podcast. More information to come on that. Yeah, I think we have a dope concept as far as how we want to approach podcasting, and I think we'll be able to add to the space that already exists. We already have folks like my brother Willem here who's doing an amazing work, being able to pull content out of people to get it out into the universe so that we all can learn from it. We just want to add to the space, right?
thank you, brother.
And we'll be continuing to do a great work at Bayview Hunters Point Foundation.
Shout out Bayview.
Yeah, where we serve the most vulnerable populations, the unhoused population, as well as the incarcerated and populations as well. Shout out to all the employees over there at Bayview Hunters Point Foundation. Grinding, putting in the work, making sure that, we're treating our clients with the best service possible, integrating them back into the community, making them feel loved and welcome in the community as well. Just stay tuned in with me, and I believe there's a lot more to come.
A lot more to come, a lot more seeds to be planted.
Yeah.
We're talking to not only a great man of God, bro, we're talking to a great man of servitude.
Yeah.
Y'all be on the lookout. Y'all follow my bro, Darrell Smith, man. Be on the lookout. Third book is dropping. Podcast is coming. And guess what? Seeds in the garden are harvesting. I know what it is. Episode 4, baby. We back.
Appreciate
What do you
you.
have in your garden? You
Yes,
hear me?
sir.
Where love is everything.